Also, I'm the first person to ever fly a solo. Amelia Earhart speech draft. I've accomplished the title of being the first woman to ever cross the Atlantic Ocean by plane, alone and with others. Also, I'm the first person to ever fly a solo, round trip, across the U.S. I'm Amelia Earhart, and you may recognize me from books or television programs about extraordinary women over time. I was born on July 24, 1897, in Atchison, Kansas. My mom, Amy, was a stay-at-home mother, and my pop, Edwin, was an insurance agent. I have a fairly normal family with one younger sister, Muriel. You might have heard of my great-grandpa, James Otis, the revolutionary statesman. As a child, people thought I was different because I preferred to do things that boys did, than to what girls liked at the time. Like one time, I was letting an horse and buggy got in my path. I had to make a quick decision, and I was having a heck of a fun time sledding, so I slid right under the horse's belly. In school, I did pretty swell. I finished elementary school, secondary school, and even high school, but I never got my diploma since I ditched on graduation. After finding out that I never got my diploma, my mom sent me to Ogon School, a 2-year female college in Pennsylvania. I also never officially graduated this college, too. Right before graduation, I left to help nurse wounded war veterans in a Canadian hospital. For 2 years I worked as a nurse. It was a remarkable job that changed my life forever. While working, I befriended a majority of my patients, most of them being British and French pilots. One time I and a friend of mine went to visit a local airfield, and one of the pilots decided to give us a scare. He put his plane on a dive, aiming right at us. My friends freaked out and ran away, all while advising me to do the same. I didn't do that, though. I stood there, watching it, mystified. After that, I realized that I loved airplanes, so I went back to college in 1919 for automobile engine classes. But that college time was short-lived. I got the influenza and I had to go back to live with my parents in 1920. I slowly got better and I went to flight school, after much discouragement though. 2 years later, I got my pilot's license from the FAA. In 1928, I got the offer to go on a flight across the Atlantic Ocean, and be the first woman to ever cross the Atlantic with others. At first, there were many delays. Fog and storms mainly stopped us. But on June 3rd, we took off on a trip that made me famous. During the flight, we were forced to land because of storms in Halifax, Nova Scotia. After a couple of days, the storms cleared up, so we set off again. On June 18th, I became the first woman to ever cross the Atlantic. Everyone paid attention to me, though I was just a passenger. I have even said, "Don't pay attention to me. I was just as useful as a sack of potatoes on the flight." When we got home, I didn't just want to sit around. I wanted to top what we had just done. On May 28, 1932, I flew solo from Newfoundland, Canada to Londonderry, Ireland. I hadn't told anyone, except my husband George Putnam, who I'd married in 1931. When I arrived in Ireland, people questioned me and I told them, "I'm from America." After that, everyone knew my name. In 1928, I had gotten the key to New York City for being on the flight over the Atlantic. Over time, I had gained the title America's Flying Sweetheart. Whenever people asked me about what I was going to do next, I would say, "Well, you don't want to ruin the surprise, now do you?" Everyone I've ever worked with became great friends with me. People, mainly women, liked that I represented them with a smile on my face, and I would happily keep doing it. I married George Putnam in 1931, though Sam Chapman had asked me to marry him multiple times before George ever asked me. The reason why I didn't marry Sam is because he didn't think that women should have jobs, so if we were to marry, I would have to quit my piloting career. George, on the other hand, respected that I was making something of my life and he wanted me to keep working. We lived happily together until I disappeared. The most daring decision I ever made was to try to fly across the world. On 1937, I took my plane, with navigator Fred Newman, and started my revolutionary trip. As I was rounding up to the second to last stop, I hit some nasty storms that were not predicted. I was able to radio the towers and tell them that we were lost before my plane disappeared off of the map. After that, I, along with Fred Newman, have never been seen since.